Oh, we're back to the cutscene, I guess. I mean, I'll skip it if I have to. I mean, I like seeing that little vessel down there. You don't get much of a shot of that while generally playing. All right, let's skip this. Welcome back. Lamont joins the party as a guest. Oh, this is a part I've been looking forward to for a while. We're gonna have like a bit of a mini dungeon to do, and then some really nice story. I got myself a banana out of the fridge. Is that weird, keeping bananas in the fridge? As a kid, I never used to, but now that I live on my own, I decided to. And I got some coffee. It should be all gravy, baby. So, yeah, let's move on. Turns out we can't get up to Ondor's estate. I'm frustrated, guys. We've been talking so much about Ondor, and he's such a curious, weird character, and yet we still can't see the bastard. Alright, the estate of Marquis Ondor is ahead from here. The Marquis house is as old as the royal family of Dalmasca, did you know? Perhaps it is now the oldest surviving house in Evilis. There is a lot of information about the houses of, you know, of Dalmasca and of Arcades, and even here. We'll find that in the clan primer a few times as we go forwards. And in fact, speaking of that, here, I'll give you guys a quick description of the Pavama that we're on. So remember, now if we look at the world map, I'll show you. Look, we're all the way over here, okay? That ocean we're over, that's called the Naldoan Sea. And in fact, can you see all the text on screen? I believe that is actually translatable. It's a lot like how in 10, do you remember the world map on 10? I talked you through all the little trivia there. Same thing here. But we're over the Naldoan Sea, and they talk about that a little bit in the clan primer. Remember, Pavama is the name for basically the land masses, the rocks themselves. Pavama is a word for floating big rocks. And then there are some that are continental sized. Here's what the clan primer says. A great landmass floating in the skies above the Naldoan Sea. Such land masses are not uncommon. Found throughout Evilis in every sort and size, though the manner of their formation remains a mystery. That thing about it being a mystery, remember that, because I think I have the answer to the mystery, but we're not going to get there for a long time. The region in which they float has some bearing on their climate. However, most are warm to subtropical, boasting primordial jungles in which flora and fauna, both rare and wondrous, can be seen. I love this idea of, even in the real world, I'm compelled by the idea of like really remote islands that somehow get life on them, and it's because birds or insects and things just happen to deposit seeds over enough time. Eventually life appears there. And just think about how wondrous that is for a floating continent. I love that so much, guys. I think FF12 does such a good job talking about this stuff. And yeah, there's really weird, mysterious, maybe even ancient plants up here because they're not tampered with from the, you know, ecologies down below. The crust of these floating islands boasts a high magicite concentration, and after airships became a common mode of transportation, mining colonies sprung up on the richest outcrops. Bhujerba in Dostornis is the largest of the sky cities, and it oversees the administration of many of the rest. So, little spoiler, I guess, we won't go to any of the other sky cities. In the sequel game, which I've never played, in the sequel, I believe we go to another one of these giant continents. It's not Dostonis, but there's another one. I really like this. I think the whole idea of airships being built and then people discover this in the sky, it's a lot like the real world, you know, and the discovery of the New World in the Americas. Actually, do you know what? I don't really know what galvanized that IRL. I don't know what the catalyst was. So I assume some kind of shipbuilding technology that made it easier to travel across the Atlantic and so on. I really don't know. I also don't know, in real life, why people of the Far East never found the New World first. I mean, that's an interesting idea for an alternate reality, isn't it? That instead of people of Spain and Portugal and, you know, various European places, the Dutch were big explorers as well, right? Instead of them finding the New World, it's actually, you know, people of Japan. That would be really, really crazy. Anyway, in editing here, I'm guessing, while I eat my banana, I'm guessing it's because the Pacific is just so huge. So, yeah, we get various shops here. This is a whole other city. We are in Rithil's Protectives at the moment. I kind of wanted to read you guys the name of the place outside, but whatever. And what do they have to say? So these guys, the Parijanas, they're like tour guides, and they say, Sfagatum, traveler. This is a shop of armors. It is not a bad shop, but the master is a poor salesman. Aye! Please, forget what I have said, yes? They're so amazing. And if you remember Ondor from the first part, he's got kind of like this European-y kind of sounding accent. It was very deliberate from the localization team. Look, don't tell anyone I said this, but Rithil's just got me in here to improve his image, see? This place is dead. There's no life in it. I'm actually a little bit concerned about making a purchase now. Look at all the details, guys. I mean, it's the same in Rabanastre if you go in shops like this. There's so many details. We never really examined them before. Hello, the clerk. Svagatum yawn. All right. Hello. Hello, Rithil. Welcome. Armor, not arms, is what we sell. Battle takes more than just a blade. ... What a great salesperson. So, we don't really have the licenses for a lot of this stuff, but Barsh does. We picked that up. So, he can get this Salet. 750 gil. So, we've got to be careful about what we're buying. And he can get this scale armor. I'm looking for someone kind of tanky at the moment. And then we're kind of done. So, here's something that you really should do if you want to keep money comfortable for yourself. That is sell old gear. At a certain point in the game, you don't want to do that anymore because gear starts coming with perks that is useful forever, even if it's slightly numerically weaker. But like this Capella, for example, we'll get Balthier a better... Oh, no. The Capella, he's still on the Altair, isn't he? We didn't actually go to his board yet, did we? Well, I guess I will leave it for now. It doesn't really matter too much, and you'll see why in just a moment. We do have loot to sell. Let's do this. Iron scraps. Discarded scraps of varying shapes and sizes. Great quantities are melted for reuse, but a large amount of impurities makes for low-quality metal. We got a lot of money from that. Stone infused with earth. The windstone. Loads of those storm stones. Looks like an ordinary stone, but tingles to the touch. Green liquid. Thick, virescent, sludgy goop that exudes a truly vile odor. Lovely. Waterstone, foul flesh, carrion flesh of the kind often eaten by hyenas and their ilk, used in magics and in alchemy. Get some wolf pelts, some small feathers, cactus fruit here. We heard about this in one of the clan things. And 2 pebbles, look at that. 2 gil per pebble. I guess I got that wrong last part, guys. My bad. It wasn't 1 gil, it was 2. Lots of sales there. A light spear is apparently available. A spear tipped with a flattened blade, designed chiefly for civil rather than martial purposes. Its armor-piercing capabilities have been left somewhat wanting. Is that what we bought before? That's just called spear. That might be better. So anyway, we now have 3 grand. We can probably finish off Barsh's stuff. Let's give him that shield and equip it. Now, another thing I want to talk about. This didn't exist in vanilla, but you know that sword that Barsh picked up while we were in the Barheim Passage? In SFF, that's actually just a weapon that you will get once he rejoins your team. So, weapons... Here, it's called the Flimsy Blade. You see this? It's not actually bad. What's especially cool about the Flimsy Blade is it can be worn by anyone. Look at that, see? We could put it on Varn. We could put it on Balthier. It's not coming up on the optimized menu because the spear actually does more damage. But there it is on Balthier. Fran could have it if she really wanted. I'm going to put it on Balthier here, though. And in that way, we don't even really need that swords license we bought before. Let's give him the battle harness. And there you have it. So, look, we did. We patronized that shop. What I mostly like to focus on is buying the skills. Like spells and techniques and stuff. Because those are like permanent additions to your arsenal that will probably be useful for a long time. Meanwhile, some gear you end up outgrowing. Would you like to buy a map, Kupo? Right, so we can buy a map to the mines and Bhujerba. I'm actually going to save my money. Fine purchase, Kupo. You won't regret it. Moogle's honor. But I will get the cheap map for just the town. So we will save off on the mines. We know that Pinello's in there somewhere, but we'll be able to navigate, don't you guys worry. Along this road, you may find arms, armor, and a cell of magics newly open. Many of the miners who come here to buy here for defenses needed against the Raskers, or fiends, as you call them, in the mines. So referring to them as fiends, that's what 10 called the enemies all the time. I don't know whether this is directly alluding to that or it's just a generic term. The wiki seems to think it's a direct allusion, so I'll give you guys the trivia, but I don't know whether that's really fair. Sorry, but this way is closed on the authority of the Marquis. Why? Wouldn't you like to know? I love this dialogue. What you guys might not be getting the proper impression of, because I'm trying to keep the pace going here, but is all over the place in 12. The devs are blocking roads off if you travel far enough away. We saw it a little bit ages ago. Remember when we were at that outpost and they had all blocked the road because of the console? Well, after the console came, we could have traveled out there, but you go far enough away, eventually it'll be blocked again. Like the roadblock at Naubana, for example. Eventually you'll find a block. And they're everywhere. And every now and then you progress the story, like when you escape from Barheim. Suddenly, there's loads more you can explore again. But then there's new blocks. And I guess that Square found that really tedious to find an actual reason to block the road eventually. So they resort to dialogue like this, where they just say, wouldn't you like to know? Because they do try to justify it, but it's like, come on, man. Just don't go this way yet. And in fact, when you look at the map, you actually see like a red line there. It tells you not to go that way. Amber, she always says the Rasca's Diabolos will come and take me away to the mines. Who is scared by such fables? Not me. Diabolos. Do you guys think that the Diabolos is real? Maybe. And by the way, Diabolos is a reference to a summon from 8. I think he's been in some others too. Doesn't the presence of Imperials give you concern? Worry not. Bhujerba is neutral. Should they violate our laws, they will be dealt with, Bhajer. So this is cool. The Cynicas seem to be the guards of this Sky City. I know it's kind of crowded and stuff here. You guys probably want more views of the distant lands, but I like this. I like feeling like, you know, we know we're in the sky, but you wouldn't think it to look at it. That's how vast this place is. I like that. So many Imperials on the street today. I thought only those on holiday come to our high streets. What could have happened? Yeah, we saw a bunch of Imperials when we arrived here too. No idea what that was all about. My wife, she goes quite often to this shop of weapons. For many hours, she does not come out. She loves weapons. She must. Does it sound a little bit suspect, maybe, guys? Am I being a bit paranoid? Got a cynical mind? Let's see. What's going on? What's going on? Now, this guy will just teach us about the weapon shop. Welcome to the best armory in Bhujerba. Should you be venturing beyond the city walls and into the mines, stop here first. Look at this. Look at how popular this shop is compared to the other one. How many NPCs are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a queue of 4 people. Look at this. There's like 13 people to speak to in it. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it's exactly 12. Guns, yes. Guns have a good range, and bullets pierce armor as though to a paper. But against some Rascas, they are useless. Flans, for instance. Hey, we know that. Nice. And ghosts. The quickest way to victory, know your enemy's weakness. And how do you find a weakness? Use Libra. And remember, you heard it here first. Actually, they heard it from me several episodes ago. Quite the crowd here, yes, Bhajer. This is the best weaponry Bhujerba has to offer. Always there is a queue. And we get to skip the queue, I guess. So, look, if you don't want to use the free flimsy blade, the iron sword is here as well. There's a katana there. Nobody can use these here just yet. The spear we already own. Avis killer. Axe. Most of this stuff we can equip, actually. The two that are the odd ones out is a katana and a mace. It's okay. I'm sure we'll find more friends as we go along. You know, I gotta say, one of my favorite experiences playing Final Fantasy... Wow, this guy's actually holding a sword. Perhaps it is that Magicite itself draws Rascas to it. Many foul creatures are there in the mines of late. We must protect ourselves. One of the things I used to love about playing a new Final Fantasy, going in blind, and I hope some of you guys watching this video feel the same way, it's just that curiosity. Who else will be on my team? I used to be really excited about 2 things. Who will join my party, and will I like them? And also, what summons will I get? Summons was such a big deal to me in all of these games. And yes, summons are in 12. But we haven't got any, obviously. I was removed from my post by Imperial soldiers. They will stand guard in my place, however. I should be thankful for the rest. And summons are pretty different in this one, because they don't copy from all the previous ones, on the other games in the anthology. Sorry, it's closed. Yes, 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 fine. That's a nice little area. This is actually pretty good. It keeps me on rails, making sure I'm heading to the mines. Little Moogle here. I came here from Rabanasta to visit a friend, Kupo. Them Imperials can't throw their weight around here, can they? That said, sure are a lot of them running around today. And what's with all these blockades, Kupo? I love that Moogle said, oh noes, in the last part at the aerodrome. That was so cool. So, check out this place. We have an upper level, a lower level. What are they selling here? Quality magics. Now, I am actually interested in this, so let's see what we got. Just look at that. You see the person walking around behind the counter? I'm very impressed by all of this. So, Shell and Protect. We did see Barsh has available these licenses. He didn't quite pick them up, but very, very, very useful. Very useful. We're going to be spamming the hell out of these as we go through. Vox gets rid of silence. Now, I want to be clear. Poisoner, Vox, and we got Blindner, if you remember. Barsh already has Blindner. Those abilities all cleanse that condition, and they do it area of effect. So do you remember when we were in the sewers before, everyone was blinded? Well, we could have just cast one Blindner and it would get rid of it on everyone. That's a nice little improvement in SFF over vanilla, where why would you ever cast those spells? Because the item version is even better. The item's instant activation, and the spells in vanilla are also single per target, so why would you bother? But now the spells have got like an added perk. The spells are AoE, the items are instant. Also, the items cost money. So, you know, there's a balance there. What's most important, and we will get to make different decisions as we go along. So anyway, that's good. The spell Dark, I think that's now within our budget, so we can pick that up, even though nobody's going to be using it here. The magicite taken from Lusu is known for its quality. Indeed, many of our magics here are worked with the local stones. Yet of late, it seems that the quality is not what it used to be. Yeah, you might have caught it very briefly, but in the little conversation right before Lamont joined us, Balthea said that the mines were drying up. Is that good for this place? I mean, if they don't have their money to defend themselves... I hate to admit this, but I fear I'm lost. Ridiculous! First I get lost in Rabanasta, now in Bhujerba. It's poor urban planning, I tell you. So the whole... Which one is the United States? Arcadia or Rosaria? I always like to think of Arcades as being the more US-y kind of one. And one of the reasons is, like, this idea that they have these perfectly laid out, planned, like, cityscapes. Whenever I think of America, I think of, like, massive blocks, you know? Everything's, like, super structured. It's just long roads, tiered off into blocks. Meanwhile, a lot of European and older settlements, we have these horrible winding roads that move around left, right, and everywhere and squiggle around. Because a lot of the places around here were made before cars and things were really being thought about for urban planning. Anyway, talking about the same stuff there. This lady... We never saw the woman in the weapon shop. Have you been to the XII Sky Grounds? They are to the west of here. The Lusu Mines, they're to the east. Go through Miner's End. Yeah, we're going to be going there. What's the name of this place? This is the Travica Way. And it might look like we've not made much progress, but I would say we have. Did you see the soldiers? There were so many. And then there's another one of these guys. Well, let's move on through. This is Miner's End. There's actually a few different routes out here, and we're going to be blocked off of all of them, pretty much. Except getting to the mines. Miner's Ender. Have I seen you in Miner's End before? I thought not. Welcome, Barger. Perhaps you are here to enjoy the flavour of old Bhujerba? Is that what you said? They have a special kind of drink that they all drink here. There's a fun side quest with. Ah, I see some sour-looking banger about. Eh? Banger and a Hume girl? Sorry, Barger. Seen nothing of the sort. Yeah, we probably should be talking to the banger as we go through, right? Welcome to Cleo's Technics, Kupo. Open for business and ready to serve. Right, this shop's amazing. This is probably my favourite shop. Not because of what they sell. It's a Moogle-run shop filled with techniques. So, look, they've got this upstairs area, and it's blocked off, see? Very sorry, Kupo. Staff only beyond here. Huh. Do you think there's a chance we could become staff in this one random shop? Surely not. Ours is a Moogle-run shop, but we serve everyone. Buy and no happiness, Kupo. Haha, I like it. Oh, if there's anything you need, anything at all, don't hesitate to ask, Kupo. There's nothing, no need to be shy. We were all born ignorant, as they say. Staff only up here, Kupo. What's that? Where is that Pilica? She was supposed to be here hours ago, and today is my holiday, Kupo. Hold on. Where's that Pilica? Which one was it? The cry of its power. Oh, we don't get to see the dialogue again? Yeah, the petitioner is Pilica at the XII Sky Grounds. Problem is, the Sky Grounds are blocked off. We won't be able to go there. And remember what I said, guys. The hunts are not just hunts. They're kind of like the whole game's side quests. So often, the hunts ravel into much bigger and more interesting things. Oh, if there's anything you need, anything at all, don't... Oh, I think we already did that. Anyway, hello, 2 people, and look, they stand on the counter instead of behind it. But look back there, there's somebody, like, hanging around. All right, how may I help you? Okay, so charge, as it says, restores a user MP and missed charges. If the technique fails, MP is reduced to 0. So basically, this is a really crazy ability that means if you ever run out of MP, you can spam this for a chance to gamble to get your MP back. And it gives you this other mechanic called mischarges. It's actually really overpowered, and in my playthrough, we can buy it now, but if we want to be able to cast it, it's going to be something we really have to focus on with our licenses. Like, for example, Fran. Fran won't get charge until way down the line. I think this is charge here. Yeah. So she'd have to go through all of these squares. So there's no reason really for us to buy it yet. I will pick up silence for her, though. That's going to be useful. And the next black magic's down there. Did we actually... Yeah, we did buy magic from the vendor. Yeah. I was going to say, we could we have picked some more stuff up? There you go. So we picked up silence for Fran. And also, if we ever find the spell water, which is the final element, you still haven't seen the last element. If we ever see that, then she'll be able to use that now. Oh, on a typical day, I find myself down in the mines, fixing the carts, the tracks, the diggers. But today is a holiday, Kupo. Very nice. I'm happy to hear that for you. So this is like a little triangular section of the town. No, of course I do not like the Imperials on our streets, but it is better than not resisting them and ending up like Dalmasca. No, independence is not won for free, you see. Sounds like you haven't done anything. No, this isn't here is Miner's End, Bardra. Lusu, that's north, but it's closed, say the criers. How's a seek to earn an honest day's wage? Well, I'm really curious, guys. You can pause the video if you like. Leave me a comment. Who do you think's in the right here? Do you think Bhujerba's made the right play? As far as you can see, the political landscape so far. Do you think that everyone should be fighting to the last, like those prisoners we found in the Barheim Passage? Do you think that the people who have given in and live at Lowtown in Dalmasca, nonetheless subjugated, are in the right, or have the best existence? These guys who let atrocities happen, perhaps under their nose, but spare themselves. Good day, Bardra. Have you seen the? Have you been to the mines? I'm a miner, you see. We who dig the stones must be ready for Raska's attacks to fight as one. That is why we frequent Bashketi's gambits. Right. Let's talk about gambits now. I mentioned a couple of facts already in the show that I'm now going to combine together. One fact I mentioned was that you used to find gambits in chests around the world. You also only used to be able to find new gambits in shops very slowly. So the ways in which you could customize your party's actions took a long time to unfold. It was like a part of the RPG to learn new programming, if you will. In IZJS, they got rid of all that. And all of this stuff is now available. Look at this. Ready? I'm going to start scrolling. This is the IZJS and Zodiac Age editions of the game. It just keeps going. You can get every single one all at once. None of them are in chests. Now, for like the true RPG fans and people on repeat playthroughs, I do think this is a good idea. There's lots of stuff that you can pick up. Now, I'm not going to do it all at once here, but I will pick up some choice pieces and my recommendations to you guys. First of all, the faux status ones are pretty good, especially faux status oil, because then you can set someone up to only cast fire on oiled people. You can do faux status confuse to make sure that people don't hit them with physical attacks and they stay confused. You can do faux status reflect. We haven't talked about that yet, but you can use that to remove reflect from people. Faux status HP critical is really good when poaching. Oh, we didn't pick that up from Giza. I knew I forgot something. We'll do that later. Now, all the weak ones are really good because you can set up your black mage to cast, say, blizzard on ice people and fire on fire weak people and lightning on thunder weak. Earth weak is good, though we don't have any earth magic yet. Wind weak, holy weak, good against the undead. Dark weak, good against people who absorb dark. What might that be? Well, we'll see later. Sorry, good against people who are weak to dark. What am I talking about? Usually the undead absorb it. Now, these are pretty much useless, the immune ones. This just means if they're not immune, cast it. But, I mean, practically speaking, you never need these. They're kind of wastes of space. Undead is good, specifically code people to kill undead stuff. Flying is good, specifically code people to do stuff against the things that would normally be out of reach. This is good for a specific time magic spell later. These ones are excellent. You can, so if there's 2 foes, I'll use this. If there's 3 foes, 4 foes. So basically, you can set it up so that players only use things, party members only use things when they're outnumbered. Like, you could tell Vaan to only bother using a mob if there's a bunch of people around, which is very, very, very smart. And I guess I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. Because here's the other fact that I want to get to you guys for. In the original version of the game, you can see why you'd go in and out of gambit shops all the time, because they would keep updating. And maybe you missed a chest, so you want to buy what you'd missed in the chest, in theory, you know. The funny and unfortunate thing is, now that you buy them all at once, you kind of ignore most gambit shops in this version of the game. And that affects the grimoire. Do you remember? There's a special bizarre item that only unlocks if you go in and out of a shop 20 times. You're almost never gonna see that, the gambit one, in the International Zodiac Age, unless you look up online, which sucks. Moogle, your days are numbered. Do you hear me? Come out here at once. Aduna, now! Oh, he's up there. What do you mean? What's he done wrong? It looks like he's talking. He just doesn't care. This is good because, yeah, the Moogles can just fly around and do whatever they want. Right. So, yeah, that's an unfortunate thing. That's a dead end. I like that kid sitting up on the stairs up there. How I wanted to play on the calf terrace, but the Imperials, they block our way. It's not fair. Back to Arcades with you, Merca Imperials. Merca. I like to think that's a really serious swear word. Oh, my inclination to speak to the Mughals over the others is becoming very apparent, isn't it? The Imperials seem quite agitated today, Kupo. How am I to take my nap with all this toing and froing? Some Imperials up there, as you can see, looking around. Kind of hard to spy. You might usually miss that little detail. Right, so, well, that was useless. No, I've managed to get myself turned around. How have I done that? We want to move through Miner's End, not back up on ourselves. So yeah, I don't really have too much more to say about gambits. There are a lot of fun things that we can do in the combat system. We're still only really just getting to grips with everything. But I do recommend picking some stuff up as you go around. We might return to that shop later. And the more excuses I have to revisit the shops, the better. Here we go. This is the mine. I hear the quality of magicite taken from the mines has dropped, but this is most odd. All the stones I have seen are of the highest grade. You carry potions and elixirs, do you not? Ha! Their value cannot be overestimated. Better than magics many times, especially for healing. Oh, I didn't want to talk to you. I wanted to talk to you. A friend of mine, he found a great treasure deep within the mine, but when he went to reach for it, it was a Rascus, the most horrible fiend. Not all treasure is treasure, Bhujerba. Yeah, we're familiar with the mimics. Want a trip into the mines? Would you like to buy a map, Kupo? No, I said no to your associate before. I'm going to say no to you as well. So, normally I sell my wares to the miners, but it's closed. So do you want my business? Yes, I do. Now, this guy sells bomb and ammunition. Bomb is a whole weapon type that, if you remember, Van the Thief will get to use. But we won't get any bombs for ages. You can buy the ammo early if you want. Don't worry about it just yet. What I want to do, and there's this new item here, the Prince's Kiss. This removes sleep. What I want to do is make sure we've got potions, because we did run out. That's where the rest of our money is going to go, I think. Oh, and here there's Gaiashal Greens, or Gaiashal Greens, returning from many Final Fantasies. A leafy vegetable favoured by chocobos. The taste is slightly bitter, but quite palatable, even for humans. Thought to give chocobos a slight buzz. So you can use these to tame wild chocobos, and I'm just going to pick some up now to be ready with that. Right, let's head on through. Will it? Oh, no, let's do it. Let's do it. Today I'll work in the mines stop Bhujerba, and inspection parties come from Arcadia. They have brought many guards. There is no need for our guild of bodyguards, the Parivir. So the Parivir are bodyguards of the mines. So there's loads of Imperials around. And yet Pinello's here. Good job, guys.
The Lusu mines. One of the richest veins in Ivalice. Under Imperial Guard, no doubt.
Actually, no. With but few exceptions, the Imperial Army is not permitted within Bhujerba. Well, shall we proceed?
Yeah, give him that look, Balthier. He should know that. We've been talking about that for a good half an hour. How ignorant. I would say, if anything, that he is adulpated. There we go, we have learned, guys. Alright, so, oh yeah, we never... So, now we get to choose. Okay, it's a 3-man party limit, so who do we pick? Barsh, you'll see, is a boss. He's level 10. Everyone else is only level 9. So, you could say, well, don't use Barsh because you want everyone else to catch up. And that's basically what I'm going to do for now. But we also have this Lamont fellow. So, let's play as Lamont. Now, Lamont has... You can't go to the equip weapon and see his thing. But he's equipped with a sword called the Joyeuse. Now, that's a French word for happy. It's actually a reference to a legendary sword of the Frankish king Charlemagne. But also, in Tactics Advance and Advance 2, that's actually a really high-tier weapon. So it's a reference to that. This guy's really good at the game, so it seems. He will cure, which is a tier 2 cure spell if people are looking really unhealthy. He'll use a tier 1 cure if you're below half health. He's really good at killing anything weak to water. And then he has Bubble, which is a green magic. Bubble doubles your health. So, look at his health here. He actually only has 235 health, but what did he just do when we entered the mines? He cast Bubble on himself, and can you see it says HP times 2. Bubble is something we're not going to get for ages, yet this guy, Lamont, has it. He's no stranger, alright, to good combat technique. He can cure poison from all of us, blind from all of us, Vox, he can cure silence. Now, one thing you could do is he will currently only bubble himself. You could change that to ally any, and watch this. he'll now start casting it on everyone else. He will double all of our max health. The downside here is he's going to kill his MP. So it is, generally speaking, and I'm afraid to say this, because we've got a 4-man party here as well. The poor kid is really going to be working overtime. He only has 17 MP left now. So it is better to just leave it on self, because without bubble, he is very weak. So we can go to ally guest, you see? So they do set you up with that. Now let's talk about the shade. By the way, I think he also has... Oh no, he doesn't really have anything else. Now, this Shades of Black skill is nuts. He can attack things with his sword, but with Shades of Black, he can annihilate stuff. What that does is that casts random black magic. Any black magic. Oh, what is this? Who do you think it is, guys? Who's that?
You will forgive me for asking, but you are diverting the purest of the magicite.
I can assure you it reaches Lord Vane most discreetly.
Ha! You wear your saddle well.
Be that as it may, I have no intention of being bridled, Your Honor.
Then you prefer the whip? Stubbornness will see not only you broken, Excellency, but Bhujerba as well.
Well, the Imperials are not treating him well. Now, just to interrupt the action for a second, these weird creatures here are really interesting to me. 10 did this quite a lot as well, where, you know, there's a lot of the main races and people you'll speak to that make up the demography of the world, but then there's like random races that kind of hang around, like the Macalania Wood musicians or whatever. Anyway, these guys basically are super minor. You hardly ever see this race. But Ondor seems to have 2 of them that hang around near him. One of the tactics games that gives them a name. They're called the Rev. And learning the name of them is really hard to find out. So I thought I'd teach you guys. Weird, aren't they? I like them, though.
Halim Ondor IV, the Marquis of Bhujerba. The Marquis served as mediator at the negotiations of Damascus' surrender. It would appear that he is somewhat less neutral now.
They say he's been helping the resistance.
They say many things.
You're certainly well informed. Who did you say you were again?
What difference does it make? We have to find Penelo.
And Penelo is your...
She's a friend. She was kidnapped and taken here.
So that's interesting. Lamont interpreted that scene as Ondor is sort of more aligned with Arcades. And Balthier crossed him and said, no, he's more aligned with the Dalmascans, suggesting he's a part of the resistance. So what is the real deal there? I want to talk a bit about Balthier as well. He's been really weird in what he knows. Did you guys notice in the previous part when he seemed genuinely annoyed at Bash being a Kingslayer? Like, he was sympathetic to the Dalmascans. He doesn't have to be. It's one of the things I like about Balthier most, that he really does seem to care about stuff that goes beyond himself as an Arcadian. Anyway, yeah, so there's a little bit of Ondor speaking to another judge. That is the second judge we have seen now. And he does not seem like a very nice person. So let's return to Shades of Black. Now, if you look, Lamont is casting it right now. Whoa! And we got a big one straight away. So it's a technique. Check it out. And what that means is it's free. It doesn't cost any MP. So he will charge it very slowly against these bats. And you never know what you'll get. It's going to be a mixed bag. So first one he did a second ago there was a really high tier Thunder Spell. This time he got blind and now he's casting Arrow. So you'll actually find that Lamont can carry you through this section of the game, which is nice because honestly, the whole Barheim section and the huge bit we did a moment ago, it takes a long time. Here you go, Bio. That's pretty high level as well. I'm not going to explain what every single spell does. We'll have special moments for that later as the game goes along. But yeah, Barheim was a long section, you know. It was a big slog. To immediately go into another dungeon afterwards that takes ages would kind of suck. So I'm really thankful for Lamont here. And he kind of just rips them up like he really does. Especially if you just get a little bit lucky. This ability here, Shades of Black, can trigger the best spells in the game. Really. Stuff that we won't be getting until like end game. And they will explode your screen with flashy effects. So enjoy them while they're here. And so yeah, we can run on through. Killing skeletons. Just making sure that Vaan and Balthier get their stealing in, and Vaan actually manages to keep people silenced. Generally, good stuff. I think we could have given Vaan a better dagger already. Oh, maybe that's after this dungeon. And we'll see Vaan starts inflicting some new statuses soon as well. So you'll notice, by the way, he's actually dual wielding stuff. I think the second one's meant to be a sword as well. That's called the Sword Breaker. And again, it's a high-tier tactics weapon. What do we get there? Poison. Well, that's not so interesting, really. I always think that poison's going to heal them. Because, I don't know if you guys have ever played it. Larian's Divinity Original Sin 2 and 1. Well, 2 specifically, I think. The undead in that game, they get healed by poison effects. Alright, Lamont is not getting that lucky here. It's a little bit of a shame. Let's see how he's doing. So what I can do now is I can show you. Now, at the start of the series, I explained that I wasn't going to mess with this. For actual boss fights and winning and stuff, I'm not going to do it. But here, check this out. If I move the battle speed up, you'll watch how much quicker everyone's charging everything. And that'll help you get through, like, say, these more sloggy kind of sections where you're not actually scared of any risk. There it is, Thundaga. You're not actually really scared. There's no real risk or anything. You just, oh, I only came here, by the way, for chests. There's a switch here, but we can't press it until we return later. I don't know why. Usually there's chests that give you good items here, and I guess we've just got really unlucky. None of them have appeared. In fact, what the hell, Fran? You just died? What is this thing? Why is it still alive? Are you serious? Oh my god, blind? Really? Maybe we should keep Fran back for now and bring Barsh out. Barsh is going to be pretty good. We can even see him doing the counter. In fact, it's probably best to play as Barsh. Run on in and have him grab the aggro, have him do all of the countering and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I usually don't like messing with the combat speed because, like, sometimes you get gear that is supposed to be really fast attacking. And sometimes you get, like, licenses that speed you up. They're called swiftness licenses. They're really quite good. But the thing is, if you're messing with the combat speed a lot and you're playing with turbo and stuff, you kind of lose perspective for what's actually cool and what's been doing well, you know? And that makes me sad, so don't really like doing that too much. Anyway, yeah, there's pretty much no dead ends in this little dungeon. You just run along basically one long railway, which is this one here. And every now and then you get these big fences, which later we learn to lift up. And lifting up the fences basically creates something of a fast travel system for you, where you ride the minecarts. Not on our first visit here, though. You don't have to worry about that. It's weird here as well, because the truth is that it's actually really kind of dangerous. And if you don't have Lamont with you, you're going to struggle. Something we'll learn soon enough. Now, a new mechanic should become available here. Let's leave remote. We didn't do many side hunts, so we can't see it yet. There it is. Sometimes when you have Libra up, you will notice a red circle. And if I step on the red circle... Oh dear. It's a trap. And so that exploded, did a ton of damage to a bunch of us, and even killed Vaan. So really, you want to be careful with Libra and watch out as you start playing from now on. Really be careful with your Libra motes. If you end up getting hit by a trap, you can be sure that there might be some other ones nearby. And you want to really scan for when that Libra runs out and you might accidentally step on another one. There's also quite often traps that will defend chests. So, for example, over here, you can see there's another trap there. Sometimes there'd be a trap directly on this. So you get baited over and then screwed. Okay, so here we got a weird moment. What is attacking us? We seem to be okay. So yeah, we get the railway using these bridges. Look, you have to stop and buy this for a second here, guys. Let's go back to Lamont. Because Barsh is sort of running all over the place here. Good AoE there. Look at this. Oh, yeah, there you go. There's another chest. We are like hanging on the underside of the mountain above us. It's so cool. Oh, I shouldn't say mountain. The floating islands above us. I think 12 was genius in that it gave you a floating city and a floating continent to explore. And to really hone in how vast and realistic the scale of all of this was, it gave you a mine to walk through. A mine in the sky. A mine in the sky. How cool is that? And then on top of that, they get... By the way, I think there's a bunch of traps in here, so we want to be cautious. Another reason to play your tanky guy, by the way, because your tanky guy will hit it first and won't necessarily die, while Lamont might. And then they have you, like, coming out underneath, and you can see all the infrastructure that they built and affixed to it. I think a lot of players just run through here and think, oh, yeah, all right, it's a bridge or something. But they've really logically thought, like, okay, if you're mining into something floating in the sky, how will it sometimes pop out? And, you know, what kind of stuff will they do? Also, you know, we heard that the Mughals work down here. Well, it makes sense because they could fly around and build stuff like that easily. Okay, really important chest here. Numerology. Oh, there you go. There's the explosion trap that would have hit us. And Lamont can heal us up. I feel a bit bad about Fran, but hey. Now, this is an ability nobody in our team can use. But what does it say? Reduces the HP of multiple targets by 20%. So basically, it's a big AoE skill. Oh, God. Careful, everybody. There's another one there. It's an AoE skill that will just chunk everyone down. A bit like Demi. Do you remember if you watched my 10 playthrough? Or sometimes it's called Gravity. I think in vanilla there is a gravity spell and a high tier gravity spell. They're a part of the time magic line. Or maybe they were arcane. See, through the different versions of the game, a lot of stuff happened with the arcane and the time magic lines, in which most of the arcane magic got swapped. You remember in part 1 I said that they just made some random changes to differentiate the releases? Well, yeah. Right, so this area, by the way, we haven't been going through the names. That was Transitway 1. There was the Ultim Span. Oh, yeah. 20% chance or 100 in my playthrough. One of the bats that appears on there is a really strong one. And we actually avoided it by going off the side. And then that was the shaft entry there. Ladies. So, here at the Shunia Twin Span, this is a very famous map for most Final Fantasy XII players. Now, why is that, you might be wondering? Well, we can go down on the right, as you can see. But look, the way seems clear. Also, look at that bridge over there. You get to that bridge way later. Like, way later. And I love it. Do you know what this reminds me of? Have you guys ever played the game Halo Combat Evolved? In Halo, on Assault on the Control Room, okay, the level pretty early in the game, the 4th mission after the Silent Cartographer, you have these moments where you're in an icy area, you go across these bridges and you look on the left and there's another one that you'll go to later. This is like exactly what this makes me think of. And do you know what's kind of weird? Both those games came out and were being developed sort of around the same time as one another. That is 100% what this makes me think of. And a Halo 3 map as well, fighting map. Anyway, why is this famous among Final Fantasy XII players? It's because in the middle here, you get these undead, these skeletons, this skull defender in this case. You see that? That was Flare. Look at how good Flare looks. And they just keep popping up. They just keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. And now why is that good? Because you can chain them. And because every time you kill one, you can get LP. So people like to stand here, especially on the later versions of the game, with turbo mode up while Lamont is in the party. And, you know, we're a little bit weak here because the game balance has been restored a bit. But basically, this is a grind spot. You can get epic LP and epic money here as well. The main thing about this place... Let's have Barsh actually throw a Phoenix down here. The main thing about this place is that as both drops and as steel, you can get these bone fragments, which are really worth a lot of money. There are very specific moments in Final Fantasy XII where a heap of cash can come in. This is one of them. It's a grind spot where you don't have to leave the map and like, okay, should we ether? I think I will ether Lamont here. So that you can keep using Cure and make sure that we stay healthy. Because Varn is low. And now that traps are a part of the game, we're screwed. Also, yeah, you see the T2 spell? That's Cure. It's AoE. Oh, yeah, AoE. So, yeah, you can just sort of stay here and grind. Very worth doing. And I actually think a lot of the time they're developer intended too. Really. Alright, we're now at Site 2. This is about as deep as we will be in this dungeon. Wow, Lamont's out of MP again. Hold on. How expensive was Cura for him there? I think it is pretty pricey at this point in the game. I might actually... perhaps I should turn that gambit off. I mean, you pay a high premium in order to AoE heal. That's why it's so important that you keep people... Look, he just ruined his MP again by casting Bubble there. That's why it's so important you get someone in Mystic Armor and so on. So we get a choice left or right. Now, the actual way forward is just over there on the right. However, Look at that, he cast bio there. However, I want to just sneak through. Do you want to cast regular cure on me? Yeah, this is good. Single target. It will heal us a bit. I think we're still so low that we'll probably die if we hit another trap. And again, I've got a choice now, so there's a bit of strategy going on here. Do I throw the moats or not? I'm going to choose not to. But let's have Balthier throw the potion as he heals more with them. And I'm just trying to spy chests. This is crazy. We're getting very unlucky, guys. Very unlucky. A potion? We spent a potion on the trap to get here. That cost nothing. That reminds me of some old PS1 games where you almost die to get a secret, and then the secret is just like getting your health back, basically. It feels like a waste of time almost. If you really think about it. Yeah, there you go. Those bone fragments. That's the main thing that you can get an awful lot of cash from. And yeah, did you see Larsa casting Flare there? Now, if you watched my 10 playthrough, you'll know that Flare was a very high level black magic there as well. What you might have also noted just a second ago is that the Flare animation we just saw is almost identical to 10's Flare animation. In fact, a lot of the animations are really similar in 12. Have you guys noticed that? Yeah. So here's a weird thing. It's a very different combat system, but like, did you see Blazara there? Where that ice coalesced around him and then it exploded. You might not catch it, but there's actually a lot of reuse going on here, or very near reuse. It's just that because in this combat system it's not turn-based, we're not on a random encounter, we don't really get such a good look at enemies anymore, and we don't get such a good look at animations anymore. But they are pretty much the same ones going on. It's very weird to me how you can repackage something that, you know, just because the system's different, and almost it becomes unrecognizable, even though it is very similar. That's what I was kind of getting at when I mentioned the other day. I think a cool idea for a business is creating these libraries of assets, because depending on how stuff is housed within a game, I think it can have a profound impact on your perception of the thing itself. So wow, we just got a lot of good stuff there. Dispel moat. Remove beneficial status from a foe. Very good. We don't know the Dispel spell, but we do now have a moat for that. That's very good. And then Quake. So, another element. This is earth damage and may inflict slow. So, it turns out Quake is not going to be a black magic spell. It's going to be a time magic spell. So, Penelo, where the hell are you?
This is what I came here to see.
What's that?
It's nethercite, manufactured nethercite.
Nethercite?
Unlike regular magicite, nethercite absorbs magical energy. This is the fruit of research into the manufacture of nethercite. All at the hands of the Draclaw Laboratory.
Balthier doesn't seem to like the mention of that place.
So this is where they're getting the magicite.
Errand all attended to, then?
Thank you. I'll repay you shortly.
No, you'll repay us now. We have too much on our hands to go on holding yours. So, where did you hear this fairy tale about nethercite? And where did you get that sample you carry? What do you know about the Draclaw Laboratories? Tell me, who are you?
Balthier?
You kept us waiting, Balthier.
Aha!
You slipped away in Albina. We missed you. First the judge and now this boy. The whole affair has a smell of money about it. I may have to wet my beak a little.
Keep your snout in the trough where it belongs. This thinking ill befits you, Begamnon.
Balthier. Too long have I gone unpaid. I'll carve my bounty out of that boy.
Where's Penelo? We're taking her back.
The girl? Why keep the bait when you've landed the fish? We cut her loose on the way here and then off she ran crying like a babe.
So we didn't even need to come here?
After them!
Hey, wait up!
We'll not be able to take them all. Fight who we must, leave the rest.
Alright, so a few things to talk about. First of all, Lamont is now gone. He's not a guest anymore, so you get to enjoy an overpowered ally for a little while and then he leaves. That feels very Final Fantasy to me. Also, let's just remember, the mines, people were saying, are dried up, but what's actually been happening is Ondor is just giving the Empire a bunch of the magicite here. Now remember, magicite is just general magical rock. It can be any kind of thing, like the sunstones we saw before, the teleport crystals and so on. That's magicite. Nethercite is very special. Nethercite absorbs magic. And the Empire has learned to create their own nethercite. That's what this Lamont guy was holding, how he got a hold of it. They're doing it at some lab. And so, actually, if you think back, what happened when we got on that hover bike before? What does that say about the goddess's magicite we had? Is that also nethercite? Okay, next. This is not a boss fight. This is a flea section. Bhujerba is a beast. Okay, so I'm going to leave remote here. We'll want to watch out for traps as we flee. This is a run away moment. They will chase us down. And so you see, they're very strong. You can fight them, and especially in the vanilla editions of the game, depending on how much you've overgrinded, you could do this. The main thing that I do recommend you do is this. Get Vaughn to steal from Bhujerba. Again, this is very Final Fantasy to me. This is very easy to miss, but if you steal, you can get a pretty good shield off of him. The other guy's not really so worth stealing from. There are farms and things you can do here. I'm just going to get Vaughn to steal. I mean, Balthier's going for it. But I'm going to get everyone else to run away like we should be. Okay, Balthier couldn't steal, but look, Vaughn got a round shield. So that's what we wanted. And now we're just going to flee. Also, by the way, this place here is Site 2. There is a bug in recent versions of the game that I actually didn't fix with my own little modding and tweaking around. I wouldn't even know how to. But there's a bug which is all the chests that spawn here, as soon as you trigger this scene, all the chests stop spawning. Damn it, Square, you broke the game. So no matter how many times we ever return here now, you will never get them back. Now, maybe that matters more in other Final Fantasies, because in other Final Fantasies, the chests are like these permanent elements. In this game, they're all RNG anyway. Don't worry, there's no unique items that you'd miss. It just depends how insane about all this stuff you are. So Lamont is way ahead here. Only Balthier and Bosch are on screen. In fact, we should probably leave remote again and keep our eyes peeled. And I'm going to hold Flea here. Now, these guys will chase you. This is a really interesting sequence for so many reasons to me. One of them being simply that enemies actually seem to be crossing over the boundaries in pursuit of us, which basically never happens in the game. I mean, there's a few very specific moments, but it takes the story like this, really, for that to happen. In general, you feel safe at these transitions, but not with these guys. Look at them. See, they're coming through. You actually watch them trailing in. So here, where we got numerology before. Sorry, was it numerology or horror? Yeah, it was numerology. We can skip through. Just remember that there were traps and, you know, sidestep them if possible. You wouldn't want to get a game over here. In fact, Balthier and Bosch are the only two left alive right now. Another sequence rather profoundly affected by the autosave addition. In the original version, this was tense, because you die, you're going a long way back. These guys are really interesting antagonists to me. I love their really unique weapon designs, and the voice of the female banger really makes me laugh. And they cut Pinello loose anyway, so we didn't even have to be here. I mean, we've learned a bit about what the Empire is doing, I guess. I mean, what are their ambitions with all this stuff in the mines? I don't know, but hey.
It would not seem they follow. We've lost them.
Well observed, friend.
Much more running about with Bunga at my heels, and I'm apt to give up sky pirating altogether.
Well, good stuff. So now, this bit's actually quite dangerous. We do not have Lamont, and these things are going to be a challenge. Now, usually I would fight these, because we are actually kind of getting behind on license points and stuff. At this time, I would say we really are. And money as well, to be honest. And without Lamont, this is going to hurt. The thing is, I don't want to spend the Phoenix Downs. I want to go to the save crystal, and then I'll return. I actually will probably off-screen do a little bit of fighting. Probably just like one pass through this map, maybe two, just to get a little bit more license points for the next part. We're actually going to move. This has been an easy bit. We're going to move into a difficult bit again soon, and I do want to make sure that I'm strong enough for it. But for now, let's just get into Bhujerba. Let's get past a couple of bats. I mean, no big deal, really. No, it's Pinello, over there.
I see you've been out walking without the company of your cortege, Lord Larsa.
Who? Alright, now keep an eye on Vaughn in the shot in the back here. It's very funny.
We caught her wandering out of the mines. You must take care with such undesirables about.
I was kidnapped.
Silence!
If it is a crime to wander on one's own, then I too am guilty. Marquis, I trust that your estate can accommodate another guest.
Why not?
Judge Geese, I shall heed your counsel. I will not travel unaccompanied any longer.
That was unexpected.
Thank you, Penello.
Of course.
She must be like, how did you know my name?
What's Penello doing? And what's the deal with that Lamont?
That's no Lamont. Larsa Ferinas Solidor, fourth son to Emperor Gramis and brother to Vane.
What? That kid?
Do not worry. I believe he will treat her well.
Nobody knows men like Fran does.
Our purposes lead the same way. To Ondor. We must find means to approach him.
The Marquis is channeling money to organizations opposing the Empire. We'll start there.
Is he now? How do you know that, Balthier? Wow, so we've been hanging around with Vane's little brother? One of the sons of the Emperor? That kid is defended by the judges. That's why he's like, all right, lock me up, because they're subservient to him. That kid is a big shot. He is like in a very, very powerful position. If you remember when we got into Bhujerba, all the guards were running around in a panic. It's because they lost him. Remember, they were looking for a little kid? What a nutter. And he just came wandering with us.
Marquis Ondor announced my execution 2 years ago. If news of my survival were to spread, the Marquis may find his position compromised.
The men he's been funding bear little love for the Empire. They won't be thrilled to discover that rumors of your death were, in fact, greatly exaggerated. If we were to raise a clamor to that effect, we might just get their attention.
Nothing to it. I'll just go around town spreading the word. How about this?
Press square.
I'm Captain Bosch von Rotzenberg of Dalmasca.
Just like when we called the guards over before, remember?
Well, what do you think?
That certainly qualifies as a clamor. All right, Van, get to it. For the girls' sake, eh? Oh, and the more people around to witness your little performance, the better. If we're going to reach the Marquis, it's up to you. We'll be waiting here if you need us.
So you guys aren't gonna help out, no? I have to do this on my own. This is a very, very, very famous part of Final Fantasy XII, because if you are trying to brute force this, it takes ages, and you're getting to hear Vaan say,
"Don't listen to Ondor's lies,"
a million times. I have a much smarter way of doing it though, and by the way, another moment where this game is ludicrously impressive in terms of how many different dialogue options there are. So I'll see you guys for that next time, and next time, we will get ourselves an audience with the Marquis. I think that Bosch has been patient enough, really. Especially going into the mines to do all that with us. And yeah, I think I'll just kill a couple of guys so we get a bit more LP and we'll buy some more stuff. So it should be fun. I'll see you guys for that one next time with our adventures on the sky continent of Dorstones. See you there. Gonna eat my banana.